Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the swimming Olympic trials, and now we're going to talk about some NWSL updates. We have three things to focus on. So there were a lot of things that happened recently in the NWSL, and I wanted to update y'all on all of them. So three things in total. Okay, we're just going to begin. Okay, so first we want to talk about the North Carolina Courage. This is some good, exciting news here. Okay, so the North Carolina Courage just recently signed Australian national team forward Cortnee Vine to a 3-year contract. She joins the Courage on a guaranteed deal through the 2026 NWSL season. Vine will join the team upon receipt of her P1 visa. She will be eligible to roster when the secondary transfer window opens on August 1st. Vine spent the last 4 seasons with Sydney FC of the Australian A League Women. She scored 30 goals with 4 assists to lead the club to 3 straight premierships from 2020 to 2021 through 2022 to 2023, and back-to-back grand final championship in 2022 to 2023 and 2023 to 2024. On the international stage, Vine has 28 caps for the Matildas, including 7 appearances during the 2023 FIFA World Cup. Her shining moment came with the clinching penalty kick on home soil over France in the quarterfinals. The forward has already been announced to represent Australia in the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Vine said, "The biggest reason I'm excited to join the Courage is their style of play. They play beautifully, possession-based football, and I'm excited to be part of the culture. I know some of the players. I used to play with Denise O'Sullivan. She's a humble person and a fantastic player, and I can't wait to be a part of the culture she's spread with the Courage." Vine has spent her whole professional career in Australia, starting out with the Brisbane Roar before spending time with the Newcastle Jets and Western Sydney Wanderers before joining Sydney FC in 2020. Across 8 seasons, Vine scored 36 goals and added 19 assists in 105 appearances. North Carolina Courage head coach Sean Anaha said, "We are thrilled to add Cortnee to our club. She has great international experience and can come in and instantly help us day in and day out. In my conversation with her, she's eager to learn and help in any way she can, both on and off the field. She has a very high soccer IQ and always looks to threaten in the final third. She's an explosive player, both on and off the ball, and will fit in perfectly with our style of play. We cannot wait to welcome her here in Courage Country." Okay, next thing I want to talk about was the legal action with the Chicago Red Stars. And this is big controversial things happening here. Okay, so the Chicago Red Stars are exploring venue options around their September 21st match against San Diego Wave FC, and their club may pursue legal action after a music festival saw their game booted from their home stadium. The Red Stars are coming off a historic single-game event at Wrigley Field where they set a league record attendance of 35,038 people. The standalone record is a rarity for the Red Stars, who have previously struggled with drawing fans out to Bridgeview during their nearly decade-long relationship with SeatGeek. The franchise moved all their home games out to the Chicago suburb in 2016, and during the 2023 regular season, where the club navigated an ownership sale, drew an average of roughly 5,000 at-home games. So the scheduling conflict arose after the Riot Fest announcement, as the club has a previously scheduled game set for September 21st. Riot Fest is a 3-day punk rock music festival. The annual event has been a part of Chicago's music festival scene since 2005. It got its start as a multi-venue event and later expanded into Chicago's park districts, with previous event years held in Union Park, Humboldt Park, and recently Douglas Park. Their production hasn't been without some controversy. The fest has faced criticism before from park neighborhoods, with residents vocal about damages to park grounds, displacement of youth programs, and access to local hospitals. Last year's festival drew 50,000 per day to Douglas Park, and this year's fest organizers officially broke away from the Chicago Park District. Ahead of the initial Riot Fest lineup announcement, Fest founder Michael, also known as Riot Mike Patrician, issued a statement noting the decision to relocate the event. The decision for Riot Fest to move didn't happen overnight, and he further explained in an interview with the Chicago Sun-Times that it was a month-long process. Sorry, my voice is now going away. Okay, so now let me get some background information about Bridgeview and the SeatGeek Stadium. So the village of Bridgeview is a Chicago suburb that is home to SeatGeek Stadium. The facility initially broke ground as a soccer-specific stadium for Chicago Fire, but challenges getting out to the southwest suburbs quickly grew over time. Eventually, new Fire ownership paid over $60 million to break their lease and depart the town to play their home game in the city at Soldier Field. The club has previously split home games, training days, and general operations with Chicago Fire, rugby teams, concerts, and even flag football, among other sporting events at the venue. The Seagate landscape is no stranger to holding multiple events in this area. The Red Stars have been partial tenants since 2016 and renewed their agreement in 2019. It is set to run through the end of 2025, and in the agreement, the Village, quote, has the right to host concurrent events at the facility. The franchise has often held match days that coexist with local events. Ray Hanania, a spokesperson for Bridgeview, stated on Wednesday that the Village is working with the club on the solution. He said, obviously the Red Stars are very important to us and always have been, and we want to do whatever we can to ensure that they're satisfied. And I am quoting that, by the way. Okay, so on Thursday, he also offered extended remarks and confirmed the Village's decision to welcome Riot Fest. He also explained that the Red Stars were given notice in April about the, quote, possibility of the need to move their September 21st match due to Riot Fest. And he revealed that as Riot Fest discussions were completed, the Red Stars were provided with written notice of the Village's exercise of its right under its agreement with the Red Stars. Regarding Elite Sal's recent remarks about discrepancies between men and women's sports, Hanania stated the Village's decision to schedule Riot Fest has nothing to do with gender. This is where we get into the controversy, more of the controversy. So the situation with the Red Stars getting bumped from their stadium for Riot Fest really highlights some bigger issues that women's sports teams often face. It's more than just a mix-up in schedules. It shows a continuing struggle to get the same respect and priority as men's teams, even when the women's team pulled in huge crowds like the Red Stars did at the Wrigley Field. It seems pretty odd that the Red Stars are getting pushed aside for a music festival, especially when they've had such a solid agreement with the venue. Even though the Village of Bridgeview is technically allowed to host other events at the same time, choosing to prioritize Riot Fest, which has had its own share of community pushback over a major league game, feels like a slap in the face in some way. The Village said this wasn't about gender, but it's hard to not see this as part of a bigger pattern where women's sports just don't get the same level of consideration. It's not just about the legal stuff or having the right to do it. It's about showing women's sports the respect they deserve. The Red Stars might even take this to court, which could be a big deal for setting how women's sports teams handle these kind of conflicts in the future. They're basically fighting to make sure their games aren't just brushed aside for other events. This whole thing really should make us think more about how we treat women's sports and work towards giving them the same understanding as the guys' games. It's about time that they got fair share of the spotlight. But at the end of the day, I do understand that the Riot Fest probably does produce more revenue, and I would understand if they wanted to prioritize that. But it does lead into question about gender. This is kind of this pattern that we've seen, that women's sports just kind of get dished aside sometimes. And that's kind of what it seems like is happening right now. So I'm hoping that it does get, a bit better. Things get solved here. But it will set a precedent for how the Red Stars do handle this controversy, especially if they take it to some legal action. So the third thing I wanted to mention with the NWSL was a huge innovation to the league. This is more happy news here. So exciting news is on the horizon at the Mercy Health Training Center. As it seems, FC Cincinnati's top brass are making moves to secure a NWSL team for the Queen City. Recent reports from Alex Silverman and the Sports Business Journal, confirmed by FCC CEO Jeff Birdie, reveal that Cincinnati is one of the 3 cities eyeing for an NWSL expansion team targeting the 2026 season. They're up against bids from Minnesota and Cleveland, but here's why I'm banking on Cincinnati clinching it. Okay, so Cincinnati's bid stands out for a couple of reasons: facilities and funding. TQL Stadium and the Mercy Health Training Center, or MHTC, are jewels in North America's sports facilities, already equipped with expansion capabilities and locker rooms ready for a women's team. Compared to the uncertainty of Minnesota and Cleveland, where stadium plans hinge on additional funding, Cincinnati's existing infrastructure puts them a step ahead. On the financial front, Birdie and a robust group of local investors, including numerous businesswomen, are setting the stage for a well-supported team. While further details are yet to unfold, the strong investment track records of FCC backers suggest a solid financial foundation for its respective NWSL team. Now, let's talk about branding. This is the more fun stuff. A realm ripe for innovation is the branding for the Cincinnati team. Okay, so SEC's existing colors are beloved, but the branding could use a refresh. Imagine a new NWSL team sporting a crest featuring Cincinnati's iconic Union Terminal or the Tyler Davidson Fountain with a striking blue primary and rose red secondary color scheme. It's a perfect opportunity to infuse local heritage into a dynamic new identity. As for the team name, NWSL has a knack for unique and meaningful names. Think, Kansas City Current or Portland Thorns. Even Chicago Red Stars. Here are a few playful suggestions for Cincinnati's that people have made up. Queen City FC, Cincinnati Sirens, Cincinnati Crowns, and Queen City Rangers. I personally really like Queen City FC and Cincinnati Crowns. Those flow very well. I feel like Cincinnati Crowns flows very well because you have double C's. And it is the FCC. So it's kind of makes sense. So there's two C's there, if that makes sense. It's anyway, moving on. Also Queen City because that is kind of more heritage stuff. So we like that. But also the crown works too because Queen City, but with crown. I don't know. I like them. I like the name so far, what we have going on here. I do have high hopes for Cincinnati getting this bid. This is a very huge time for the NWSL, and I will make sure to continue updating you guys on the innovation within the league because this is very important with the league. Considering that the NWSL has not gotten much attention in past years we've seen, so this is very exciting that they're, getting another expansion team. It's very exciting. So we're now going to move on to our next segment where we're going to talk about the U.S. rowing team roster for the Olympics, where we dive into that, literally dive into that. I know, I'm clever with that one. We're going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.